Curiosity is one of the most powerful psychological levers you can pull if you want to capture and hold someone's attention. It's the spark that keeps the mind moving forward, the force that keeps people watching, listening, asking, and digging deeper. But curiosity alone is volatile. It's like lighting a match in a dark room. You have a momentary flash, but unless you build it into something more substantial, the light dies quickly. This is where authority comes in. Authority is what allows curiosity to be sustained long enough for transformation to occur. Without it, the audience can be intrigued for a moment, but they'll drift away because they don't trust the source enough to invest their time, attention, or belief. When you combine curiosity and authority, you create a closed loop that keeps people leaning in, asking what's next, while also assuring them that they're in good hands and that following you is worth their while. Now imagine you encounter someone who claims they made $1 million in 30 days. You're immediately hooked. Not necessarily because you believe them right away, but because the number is so big, the time frame so compressed, that your brain starts trying to solve the puzzle. How? Is this real? Could I do it too? That's curiosity. It's a kind of mental itch that demands to be scratched. And you know this instinctively. Humans are wired to resolve gaps in their knowledge. But here's the catch. Curiosity without credibility is just entertainment. You'll watch a few minutes, maybe even finish the video, but the moment you sense the person doesn't really know what they're talking about, your interest collapses. You feel you've been tricked into watching something hollow. This is why authority matters so much. Authority is not just about credentials, degrees, or titles. It's about demonstrating competence, mastery, and a lived relationship with the thing you're teaching. It's why a story about making $1 million in 30 days means nothing unless the person telling it can walk you through the exact decisions, risks, setbacks, and wins in a way that rings true. Authority is what keeps the skeptical part of your brain quiet long enough for you to absorb the lesson. It's the antidote to that internal voice that says this is probably fake. In the context of a title like How I Made $1 Million in 30 Days, the curiosity comes from the absurdity and rarity of the claim, but the authority has to be built from the moment the video starts. The way the speaker explains themselves, the way they present evidence, the way they acknowledge difficulties, it all either builds or destroys that fragile trust. You see, human beings make rapid judgments about credibility. They look for signs, consistency between what's said and what's shown, a level of detail that only someone with real experience could know. The avoidance of vague generalities in favor of specifics that can be tested or verified. When a creator, speaker, or teacher can pair these credibility signals with a hook that's so intriguing you can't look away, the effect is magnetic. It's the same dynamic that pulls you into great storytelling. The story opens with a strange or shocking event and you lean forward, eager to know how it happened, but you keep listening because the storyteller convinces you, without overtly stating it, that they know the terrain, that they can guide you through the labyrinth without losing you in it. Now there's another layer. Curiosity triggers emotion, and authority triggers trust. You need both to get movement. Emotion alone is unstable. It can cause excitement, but also skepticism, even cynicism. Trust alone without emotion is sterile. It can breed respect, but not engagement. But when someone manages to light up both systems in the brain, when they make you feel and believe at the same time, that's when transformation becomes possible. This is why marketers, educators, and thought leaders work so hard to engineer their message to do both. They'll open with an impossible claim or a strange fact, and before you've even had time to decide whether to believe it, they'll drop in proof points, stories, and confident delivery that reinforce their credibility. The $1 million in 30 days example is extreme, but it's not just about money. It could be how I learned a new language in 2 weeks, or how I ran 100 miles without training. The shape is the same, an unexpected achievement compressed into an impossibly short timeline. That shape is a curiosity engine. It's irresistible because the human brain is drawn to anomalies, things that break the expected pattern of reality. But the anomaly needs a believable frame, or it will be dismissed as fiction. This is where your authority either makes or breaks the story. You have to show the audience the scaffolding behind the miracle. And the more detail you give, the more your authority grows. If you watch someone who's mastered this balance, you'll notice they don't shout about their authority. They don't begin with "I'm an expert." They demonstrate it indirectly. The way they speak about the process, the way they anticipate objections before you can voice them, the way they make you feel like they've already walked the hard path and can now light the way for you. These things establish authority more powerfully than any list of credentials. The combination of curiosity and authority is subtle but potent. It moves people from skepticism to engagement, from passive viewing to active belief. And here's the strange thing: the higher the initial curiosity, the more authority you'll need to sustain attention. If the claim is small, people don't require as much proof. If I tell you I made an extra $100 selling something online, you might believe me right away. But if I tell you I made $1 million in a month, you will demand to see the receipts, the breakdowns, the how behind the what. The size of the claim amplifies the hunger for authority. Without it, curiosity burns out faster than it started. This is why clickbait fails over time. It plays the curiosity card but never follows up with authority, so people learn to ignore it. When you integrate these two forces effectively, you're not just getting someone to click a title or watch a video. You're initiating them into a story they want to see through to the end. You're building a bridge from intrigue to belief. And when they cross it, they're not just satisfied, they're converted into someone who trusts your voice, your insight, your ability to guide them through unfamiliar territory. This is why some content creators can repeat the same structural formula over and over and still pull millions of views. It's not because the titles are shocking, it's because the shock is always backed by substance. The curiosity is always married to authority, and that marriage is what keeps people coming back, not just once but again and again, searching for that same feeling of being both fascinated and secure in the hands of someone who knows exactly what they're talking about. When you think about why some content surfaces again and again while other content disappears without a trace, it almost always comes down to how the message connects to the existing patterns of language people are already using. Search-friendly keywords are not just technical tools for algorithms, they are the cultural signposts of what people are thinking about, what they desire, what problems they want solved, and what fantasies they are chasing. If you ignore them, you're essentially whispering in a crowded marketplace. If you understand them, you're standing on a platform with a megaphone tuned exactly to the frequency people are already listening to. This is why the right words in a title are not decoration, they are the bridge between someone's inner curiosity and the external action of clicking. It's not about stuffing in as many high-volume phrases as you can find, because that doesn't build a real connection. It's about precision. You need to meet the searcher in the exact mental space they're in when they type into that little box. Think about the phrase, "How I made $1 million in 30 days. It's not just a string of numbers and symbols. How I Made signals a personal story, an origin narrative, an inside look at a path to success. $1 million is both a universal symbol of wealth and a psychological trigger for ambition, security, and freedom. 30 days gives the story urgency, scarcity of time, and a compressed challenge that makes the feat more remarkable. Then step-by-step guide is an explicit promise of value, practical, repeatable actions the viewer could apply to themselves. Each piece of this phrase connects to different search intents. Some people are looking for how to make money fast, others for millionaire stories, others for business case studies, and the right combination of keywords captures all of them in one net. The algorithms behind YouTube, Google, or any other search platform are designed to guess intent based on words. They are matching patterns of characters to patterns of human curiosity. But those patterns are not random. They are shaped by trends, cultural narratives, and psychological hooks that have existed for decades. People search how-to because they want to learn. They search numbers because they want measurable proof. They search short time frames because they want speed. They search step by step because they want clarity and control. Understanding this is what allows you to design titles and descriptions that don't just sound exciting to you but actually match what people are typing in from all over the world. And there's something deeper here. Keywords are not only about being found, they're about being recognized. When someone sees a phrase that matches the one they've been turning over in their head, it's like a moment of alignment. The brain responds to familiarity with trust, but it responds to exact phrasing with attention. The title becomes a mirror for the viewer's own thoughts, and that reflection creates the impulse to click. If your language is too clever, too far from the common search patterns, you might have something original, but it won't be found because it doesn't match the mental vocabulary of the audience. On the other hand, if you lean too heavily into generic keywords without any personality or story, you dissolve into the noise. The balance is using the shared language of the audience, while injecting a unique twist that makes it stand out in the search results. Search engines also reward relevance over time. If you consistently use search-friendly keywords and deliver on their promise, the platforms will begin associating your channel, your videos, your articles with those terms. This creates a kind of momentum where you no longer have to fight as hard for visibility. The system expects you to be relevant for those searches. but it's a double-edged sword. If your keywords are misleading, if you promise how to make $1 million in 30 days, and instead offer vague motivational quotes with no substance, you won't just lose the viewer, you'll train the system to devalue your content for those keywords. In this way, search-friendly keywords are not a trick, they are a commitment. They are you saying to the audience, and to the algorithm, I know exactly what you're looking for and I will deliver it. Another thing to consider is how people actually search. They don't think in perfect sentences. They think in fragments. Make money fast. Millionaire in 1 month. Business success story. Passive income step by step. The best titles and tags connect to these raw, unpolished inputs. You don't have to use them word for word, but you need to echo the structure and rhythm. This is why even in a competitive niche, small tweaks to wording can change everything. How I made $1 million in 30 days could also be from $0 to $1 million in 30 days, or making $1 million in 1 month. Each variation emphasizes a slightly different angle of the same search pattern, and testing them can reveal which one resonates most with your audience's habits. Search friendliness also has a temporal element. Trends shift. What people searched for 5 years ago may still have volume, but the cultural context changes. If side hustle becomes the dominant term over extra income, you have to adapt your phrasing even if the meaning is the same. This adaptability is crucial because the algorithms reward recency and relevance together. It's not enough to have evergreen content, you have to present it in a way that aligns with the current language of the moment. And that language is shaped by news cycles, economic conditions, viral stories, and collective fantasies. The million in 30 days narrative hits differently during a recession than during a boom. During scarcity, it's about survival and escape. During prosperity, it's about ambition and legacy. The keywords remain the same, but the emotional resonance changes, and that should influence how you frame them. You can't separate search-friendly keywords from psychology. Behind every search is a human being with a story, a set of fears, and a vision of what their life could be if they found the right piece of information. When someone types how to make $1 million, they might be desperate, inspired, bored, curious, or skeptical. The words they choose reflect more than just intent, they reflect mood. And if your titles, descriptions, and content match both the literal query and the emotional state, you create a stronger connection. This is why some creators dominate in niches, even when others copy their keywords. The successful ones align with both the head and the heart of the searcher. The challenge is to keep refining your understanding of which words your audience uses most, and why. Tools can give you search volume, competition level, and related queries, but you have to interpret them through the lens of human behavior. You have to notice that step-by-step guide appeals to people who want structure, while secret method appeals to those who want exclusivity, and proven system appeals to those who want reassurance. Each phrase might lead to the same type of video, but the audience each one attracts could be radically different in mindset, commitment level, and expectations. If you approach search-friendly keywords with this depth of thought, they stop being a technical checklist and become part of your storytelling. They shape the way you open your videos, the examples you choose, the proof you offer. They guide you to present your content in a way that's not only discoverable, but also deeply aligned with the way your audience experiences the problem you're solving or the dream you're selling. And when you do that consistently, you don't just get clicks, you get the kind of audience that keeps searching for you even when they aren't searching for the topic, because your voice has become part of the mental map they use to navigate the world. When someone encounters a claim, especially one that's bold or unusual, their immediate question is whether it's just an idea, or if it's something they can actually use. The promise of actionable value is what moves a statement from the realm of entertainment into the realm of transformation. People will listen to grand stories, they will watch impressive feats, but the thing that makes them stay, the thing that makes them invest their time and energy, is the sense that they're going to walk away with something they can apply to their own situation. Actionable value is a signal that says you're not just going to hear about what I did, you're going to understand how you can do it too. It's a shift from passive observation to active engagement. The psychology behind this is straightforward but profound. People are constantly weighing the opportunity cost of their attention. Every minute spent watching a video, reading a post, or listening to a lecture is a minute not spent doing something else. If they sense that the information they're receiving is purely theoretical, they may appreciate it for a moment, but they'll eventually let it fade from memory. If on the other hand they see clear steps, frameworks, or methods that they can plug into their own life, the value proposition changes. The time they've spent becomes an investment with the potential for measurable returns. This is why step-by-step guide or exact method or blueprint in a title can dramatically change click-through rates and retention. It's not just the allure of learning, it's the implication of implementation. But there's a subtlety here. You can't just say something is actionable and expect people to believe it. The structure of the content has to prove it. In a title like How I Made $1 Million in 30 Days, full step-by-step guide, the parenthetical isn't just an afterthought, it's the credibility lever that says you won't be left with vague motivational platitudes. You'll be shown the scaffolding, the sequence, the cause and effect relationships. Actionable value is concrete. It doesn't hide behind abstraction, it takes the magic trick and turns it inside out so the audience can see exactly where to put their hands. That's not as easy as it sounds, because making something truly actionable means you have to distill your process without stripping away the complexity that makes it work. Too simple, and it's insulting; too complicated, and it's paralyzing. There's also a psychological contract at play. When you promise actionable value, you are in effect entering into an agreement with the audience. They give you their trust, and in return you give them tools. If you break that agreement by delivering something that's only loosely related to their goal, you don't just lose them for that piece of content, you lose their willingness to believe your future promises. This is why some creators can use phrases like full guide or complete method and see massive engagement, while others use the same language and see only skepticism. Over time, the audience learns who delivers on the promise and who doesn't. From a content strategy perspective, delivering actionable value also builds authority in a way that abstract inspiration can't. When someone follows your steps and sees a result, no matter how small, you've shifted from being an interesting voice to being a trusted guide. That shift is critical. It changes the relationship from "I like listening to this person" to "I rely on this person to help me achieve my goals." In the digital space, where there is no shortage of voices competing for attention, this kind of trust becomes the currency that sustains long-term engagement. The challenge is that true actionable value requires a degree of vulnerability from the creator. It means opening up your process in a way that could invite criticism. Someone might take your method, try it, fail, and then come back to say it doesn't work. This is the risk inherent in teaching rather than just telling. But avoiding that risk is what keeps most content generic. And generic content, even if it's polished and entertaining, will rarely lead to the kind of deep audience connection that grows over years. The risk is worth it, because when it works, you're not just delivering information, you're delivering transformation, and people remember who helped them change something in their own lives. There's a rhythm to presenting actionable value that's easy to miss. You have to open with the big promise to capture attention, but then you have to break it down into digestible pieces that feel achievable. If you give someone the entire mountain all at once, they'll be overwhelmed. If you only show them the first step without context, they'll be confused. The art is in guiding them from the top-level vision into the granular actions without losing the emotional momentum that got them interested in the first place. It's a dance between aspiration and practicality. Too much aspiration without action feels hollow. Too much action without aspiration feels mechanical. The promise in the title sets the expectation for how well you'll balance those two. One of the most effective ways to make value actionable is to anchor each step to a clear why. People don't just need to know what to do, they need to know why they're doing it. The why provides meaning, and meaning provides motivation. If someone understands the principle behind the action, they're more likely to adapt it to their own circumstances rather than trying to replicate your exact path. This is where you move beyond being a one-time source of instructions to becoming a framework in the person's mind for solving future problems. The value you provide then multiplies, because they can take what they've learned from you and apply it to contexts you've never directly addressed. Another aspect of actionable value is removing unnecessary friction. If you give someone a path, but that path is buried under jargon, unnecessary detail, or irrelevant stories, they will lose momentum before they even begin. Clarity becomes a form of generosity. The easier it is for them to take the first step, the more likely they are to take it. That's why even in long detailed guides, the initial action step should feel simple and immediate. It's the foot in the door to deeper commitment, and once they've taken one small action, their sense of investment increases, making them more willing to follow the rest of the process. It's also important to recognize that actionable value is not the same as guaranteeing results. You can show someone every step you took, you can provide the exact tools, and they still might not succeed for reasons outside your control. The promise you're making is not that they will achieve the same outcome, but that they will walk away with a method that has been proven to work in at least one real case. The distinction is subtle but essential.
Over-promising is the fastest way to erode trust. Over-delivering on a realistic promise is the fastest way to build it. What makes the promise of actionable value so powerful in a digital title is that it positions the content in direct opposition to the flood of vague surface-level material that dominates most platforms. In an environment where people are used to being teased with big claims only to be disappointed, a piece of content that actually equips them to take action stands out. The more consistently you do this, the more the audience begins to associate your name, your brand, your channel with real tangible help. That association is hard to build and easy to lose, which is why it has to be protected carefully. It means resisting the temptation to use step by step as a hollow hook, and instead using it as a true descriptor of what's inside. When done well, the promise of actionable value transforms the way people interact with your work. They don't just consume it, they apply it, they test it, they adapt it, and they come back to tell you about it. That feedback loop strengthens your understanding of what works and what doesn't, which allows you to refine your process further. Over time, this creates a body of work that is not just watched or read but lived. And when people live what you teach, they carry your ideas into places you could never reach on your own, extending your influence in ways that can't be measured purely by views or clicks. The essence of the promise of actionable value is trust backed by delivery, capturing attention with a bold claim, then proving its worth by breaking it into clear usable steps that empower the audience to act, ensuring they leave not just informed but equipped.